Firstly, if you people wanted to go teaching, what eligibility criteria are there? Is it enough to have a degree, or are there any other qualifications which you'll need?
Well, it differs, of course. So that JET scheme, which you referred to, which is an excellent scheme sponsored by the Japanese government to put graduates mostly into state schools as sort of assistant teachers helping the local language teachers. That's a very good scheme, but on the whole, they don't care if you have a teaching English as a foreign language qualification on top of your graduate degree or your university degree. They're mainly looking for the right kind of personality, which they try to ascertain in an interview. It's a very competitive scheme. And, of course, if you did have a qualification in TEFL, as it's called, then that could help, but it isn't necessary. But that's unusual. In most cases, in language schools and institutes and governments around the world want their teachers to have some sort of training, and so they should, because it's one thing to speak a language and quite another to teach it. And almost all the young people who have gone abroad to teach English without much training have regretted that, have thought, oh, they're taking the money from these eager language learners, and they feel that they've let them down because they don't really know how to go about it. They don't know where to begin. So the standard qualification that most people do, and it's not something they are maybe going to do for life, but it's a very good qualification and teaches you a good skill, and it's a 4-week certificate in teaching English as a foreign language, and that's offered by University of Cambridge and many, many places around the world. The CELTA is the acronym. Or Trinity in London also offers a 4-week course called the Trinity TESOL certificate, and it is very similar and is a very good grounding in how to teach English. So there are many others. People do it, sort of summer courses at universities and things, but those are universally recognized and seem to be the preferred qualification that people have, and that certificate opens many doors from Argentina to Taiwan.
One of my friends did the qualification, and he said he did it after his degree,
Yep.
and he said it was the 1-month course was one of the most difficult things he'd done.
That's right.
He said it was very, very challenging.
Yep.
But as you said, he passed,
Yep.
and he taught in places from Saudi Arabia
Yep.
to Morocco, and he's now in Indonesia.
Right. Right.
As you said, it's universally recognized.
Yep.
And yeah, it just opens doors for you.
That's right. I mean, it does. It's not. I mean, obviously, a qualification obtained after just 1 month is not going to get you into, the plum jobs of teaching in universities or anything like that. But it certainly gets you onto the first rung of the ladder, and then it will take some years of experience before you are a really good English language teacher. And after getting that experience, then you can think about, moving into more elite schools. But anyway, the first step would be this qualification, and I've interviewed many young people who have got out of university, looked around at the prospects in Britain for jobs and thought, nope. And they've done that 4-week course. It's just about killed them because it's just totally full on and, as you say, very, very challenging. No one has said it didn't teach them the skills they were looking for. I mean, it really is effective. And then they have gone off to, I know one right now in Barcelona. Last year he was in Chile teaching for the Chilean Navy. He was sort of living a kind of hippie life in a co-op house, and then he would go in and teach these military types who were very disciplined, so that was quite amusing. And anyway, many, many graduates find that they can quite easily get a job in a language institute, really in not any country, but so many countries after they've done this course.
And you talked about the different types of jobs and the plum jobs. What are the best ways for people to try and find a teaching job when they have that qualification?
Mm-hmm. Well, if they're just starting out, they shouldn't. If it's their first job, they shouldn't really expect to be picked up by kind of the British Council or some prestigious place. It just differs from country to country. For instance, in Spain, where there are many jobs available, there are job fairs. One every May, where quite good schools go and interview candidates. So it would be certainly worth getting a no-frills flight to Seville for that. That's one way, but most people, of course, just look for ads on the internet. Good sites like TEFL.com. They post job ads all the time at all levels, sometimes just for unqualified teachers wanting to teach English at summer schools, and other times for much more higher level jobs. And some of these teaching English websites invite you to post your own CV, and some people have found that is not so productive because they get their inboxes absolutely jammed full of many invitations from Korea, and they can't keep them straight. So it's better to be a little bit selective about where you post your CV, and perhaps you be the one that chases the jobs that appeal to you rather than the other way around.
Yep, no, that's good advice. And would you recommend people getting a job before they go, or just turning up in a country and trying to get one on the ground?
Yeah, well, it depends the circumstances that you're in. So there's nothing wrong with nowadays people can be interviewed by Skype so easily. So it is very possible to get a job before you go that way, and then often it's the kind of job where if it doesn't suit you, you could leave after a couple of months. So it doesn't really commit you to anything. However, if you know what country you want to go to, and you're determined to go there anyway, and so of course it's better if you can sort of meet face to face the prospective employers, talk to teachers who will know which are the exploitative employers and which are the good ones. And I mean, you can find some of that out by looking at online forums and all that. But to be on the spot is probably preferable. But on the other hand, then you'd have to sort of you'd have to pay your living expenses until you found a job. You'd have to do the work and find out what time of year is the right time to go. You wouldn't want to show up in Spain in March looking for a job, because their teachers are normally hired in sort of September for an October start. And then the timetable is completely different in South America, where jobs would start in sort of February, March, after the Southern Hemisphere summer. Mm-hmm. So anyway, there's no set rule about that. Some people are too nervous to just go off and look for a job on the spot, and others swear by that and say that it's silly to commit yourself to a school that you haven't seen. But as long as you do enough research, it should be fairly okay.